Understand the importance of diaphragmatic breathing, since connection to the breath, to the word, to the feeling, and ultimately to the message is vital. In a class, communication is paramount to delivering a great experience. It's vital for cueing, technique, form and direction, as well as motivation and entertainment. So what are the factors for effective teaching in the world of the physical? Breath. There are many different placements for the breath, but how does it affect the voice? The chest, or high up in the body, creates short, shallow breathing. These short bursts of air don't support the voice, and the voice mimics what the breath does. So if your breathing is shallow, so shall your voice be. You'll most likely end up with a voice that's thin, possibly nasal, small, lacking in confidence, and lacking authority. The breath centered from the diaphragm allows for longer, deeper breaths, which then allows the voice to drop down into a more centered placement in the body. The voice will sound more relaxed because the body is going to be more relaxed. The voice wants to flow easily from the body without hindrance from tense muscles or tense jaw to block its path. Pitch. So where do you want to pitch your voice for optimum carry and effectiveness? I would say many of us, maybe even a majority, are making sounds that are too high or too low for our ideal voice. And the tendency has consequences for our speaking voice. If your speaking pitch is too low, your voice won't project well, and it'll trail off at the end of your phrases, thereby losing the message you're trying to send out to your listener. The tone of your voice will become prone to sounding scratchy, wobbly, or tense, with little room in your voice for depth or richness. And if you're speaking at the bottom of your range, your delivery is going to be monotone and flat because you don't have the room in your voice to move it around. You'll also find that the voice that's pitched too low will fatigue quickly, and it's going to really sit uncomfortably in the body. So then what happens if you pitch too high? The voice muscles are going to need to tense to pitch up and get that sound out. So it's going to leave you again also with a very quickly fatigued voice and very possibly sore. Going outside of your natural tonal register means that you don't have the movement through your body, so you can't play with the tone, and you may end up again with that idea of monotony. Listeners check out really quickly if voices stay at one tonal quality. There may also then be a question of authority. So as much as we hate to admit it, a lower tone in the voice carries more authority than a higher pitched voice. And if we add too much sing-song into the voice, the overall feeling could be that we're being spoken to like children maybe, which is not totally engaging. When you learn how it feels to speak in the middle of your range, your voice will be stronger and project effectively. You'll speak with little effort, and it will be so much more pleasurable. And the tone of your voice is going to be richer, more expressive and engaging, and your communication will be clearer. Speak to me about speaking and demoing. If you're in the fitness, aerial, pole, dance, physical world, how can you ensure that you can speak and demo at the same time? Depending on what you're demoing, the use of the diaphragmatic breathing is going to be how you manage the two things together. So not only will you need the deep stability of the core to help you move and speak at the same time, but you're also going to need that projection to carry the voice across the room and safeguard against overuse and unnecessary fatigue. Now, how do we connect the breath and the pelvic floor to get that perfect projection? Let's look at some practical ways to connect the idea of breath and pelvic floor together. Stand in a neutral, relaxed position, your feet centered right under your hips, and feel your pelvis hanging heavy and easy. Take a few easy breaths just to connect with your breathing, and then start to take longer, slower, deeper breaths, filling your ribs and your diaphragm. As you exhale, begin to engage the pelvic floor at just 10%. Feel the length of your exhale as you do this. Feel how relaxed the body or overall system becomes as you do this. Now we're going to connect the voice to that breath. So I want you to start to add a tone to that exhale and see how long that tone lasts and how that feels leaving the body. Is it relaxed? Continue doing this exercise until the two things function more appropriately together. When you feel a little less like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, you can start to add dialogue to that. Pick something that you know pretty well so you don't have to start to think about it too much. Your brain is already working pretty hard right now. Good. You will build up the muscle memory around this, so don't worry if it feels pretty foreign right now. It gets easier, I promise. Good. Now, how can you safeguard newly formed habits by building them into your muscle memory? The most effective way to build muscle memory is practice. Do it every day until it becomes something that you don't have to think about as much. It's a bit like driving your car. So when you first started driving your car, you thought about every single element. And then you practiced a lot. So then you could drive and maybe not think about every single thing. And now you can probably drive, have a conversation, listen to music, and you're still aware of all of your surroundings. It's the same exact thing when it comes to the voice. Keep practicing it, keep doing it. I promise you will get so much better at it, and you will build in your really positive vocal habits.